Gemini Sun and Rising. Welcome to your January 2023 Astro Update. It's Raina here. And so one of the big deals for Gemini in particular is that Mars is going direct in your sign on the 12th of the month. And, this is going to be important for all of us. It's not just you, but because it's in your sign. It does impact you directly. And the one immediate effect of this that you may feel is a sense of simply gaining energy as each day goes forward. And in the middle of March, when Mars finally comes out of its shadow. So this is like almost like a 2-month process of it getting back up to speed to that 25-degree mark where it went retrograde. You can see yourself getting stronger and stronger and more energized. And for those of you who didn't notice anything really changing much, it might have, now that I think about it, some of you may have found that you were a lot less scattered or hyperactive, and you were kind of like chilling a lot more because you tend to be very, very active, and having Mars in your sign just exacerbates that. So that's one of the standouts for the month. But we do have both Mars and your ruler, Mercury, going retrograde into the new year. And so I'm recording this on January 1st. So I don't know why I'm acting like the new year isn't here. But yeah, so let's just start with the first important transit, which is the full moon at 16 degrees of Cancer. This is occurring in your second house of earned income. So this could actually have a financial gain for you. Maybe you are getting a bonus. That would be kind of like a delayed Christmas bonus, I guess, or some sort of commission or a raise. This could be for some people, if they are retiring, you get some kind of money, or you're quitting and you get a golden parachute. I don't know what they call those things. An exit package. So you get a boost to your income that way. On the 12th, that's when Mars turns direct in your first house of the self, 8 degrees of Gemini. And on the 18th, Mercury turns direct at 8 degrees of Capricorn. So Mercury has been in your 8th house. Some of you may have been dealing with issues surrounding money that is not necessarily your money that you earn by the sweat of your own brow, as they say, but actually that the shared resources with you and your partner, or you and your family of origin. So one of the ones that is often mentioned with the 8th house is inheritances, because 8th house is also the house of death. So I always say death plus other people's money equals inheritances. And something went awry with that somehow. Maybe it's a loan, or I'm trying to think here. Yeah, if some of you have gone to college, or some other kind of, like if you were getting funding, what do they call it? Like student loans, because that would be in the house of Aquarius for you. And there are, Saturn is there. So some of you have either started finding it more difficult to get these loans, or having to structure those loans. But I'm talking about specifically with college, because this is higher education, the 9th house, and Saturn has been there. But anyway, something is being resolved with this money that you might have had some kind of issue with. And on the 20th, the sun goes into that ninth house in fellow air sign Aquarius. The very next day, there's a new moon at 1 degree of Aquarius. And because it's only at 1 degree, a lot of you may be experiencing this new moon actually in your eighth house, and that could be dealing with how, what to do about certain financial situations. And, it's something that, sometimes things happen where we don't expect them because, you have also had to deal with Pluto here. So Pluto, this is all, oh yeah, I should say too that this is the area of shadow work and metaphysical pursuits. So that has transformed. There might be some Gemini people at the start of this transit back in January of 2008 who were atheists, completely didn't believe in anything supernatural, and now you're totally down for it because you changed over time. You saw, maybe you had experiences that showed you that there was more to life than meets the eye. I'm just giving one example. So that's another thing too that the eighth house can represent. And so Mercury turning direct could be like if you were studying something metaphysical and you didn't finish it, and now you're going to. Um, and the new moon here supports that. On the 22nd, Uranus turns direct at 14 degrees 56 minutes of Taurus, and that for you is a sign before you, and that is the 12th house for Gemini. Now, I have a late degree Taurus rising, so the Gemini transits sometimes are my transits, and I do have Uranus in the 12th house, and it's been very difficult to really pinpoint this in terms of how it has been influential. I mean, it could increase your intuition. I have had some things, they're not like the most dramatic things, but they are things that kind of make you, do a double take. Like I'm recording this in my bedroom. This is where I record most of my audios. And when I stare straight ahead, there's a closet. And I remember there have been times when I feel like I'm seeing something in there, like some apparition or something. And I don't, see things that way. And this happened a few weeks ago. I'm looking at it right now and I can't see anything. But it was really freaky because it was just like I was just staring at it. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is just like my eyes playing tricks on me. So, yeah, I mean, these things can kind of come maybe not as dramatically as some people report their experiences, but just kind of like little by little starting to pierce that veil. And by the way, the because the eighth house is connected to death, I mean, it could be the other side. So that is the other side of the veil. Both of those houses, the eighth and the 12th houses, I think can really have those paranormal experiences that happen. But when Uranus is retrograding, it's more wild. So when it's direct, it can be more controlled. And the reason this is very important is that the 12th house is ruled by Neptune, so it's already kind of chaotic in that sort of way, and not very it can feel not very like this, like there's boundaries. So sometimes when people have planets in the 12th house, it's like a bleed through where they can't really control things, they can't really So it makes it hard to really utilize this in a positive, in a kind of a, I was going to say a practical way, but that's not a place of practicality, but in a constructive way. It's kind of like when you have people who are talking to themselves in the street or yelling in, wildly, and you can tell they're really talking to someone, but they're labeled as, okay, this person's schizophrenic or something like that. Those people very well could be talking to entities, but they just don't have that sense of control. And they also may have entity attachment. So there's lower vibrational entities who are kind of attached to them, and it's almost like a demonic possession, if you will. Those kinds of things can show that there is a lack of um, energetic boundaries. So that's kind of what I'm referring to. So you want to, you can't, the whole idea of the spiritual dimension is it's not like the physical where it's very orderly, linear, and that kind of thing. However, even with that kind of aspect to life, it doesn't have to be completely chaotic. That's what I'm trying to say, because then it doesn't serve a purpose. In order for us to utilize something, there has to be some kind of order to it. And the same thing applies to artistic inspiration, if you will. If people are just kind of coming up with these brilliant ideas, but they don't implement them, or they don't have that kind of ability to discipline themselves to work on their projects consistently, then it's just kind of like a pipe dream. So hopefully this will aid your intuitive influence to have Uranus turn direct on the 22nd. And then all the planets are direct. So that's why I'm saying at the time of that new moon, the new moon is on the 21st, and it's interesting because the new moon is in Aquarius and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So we can call that synchronicity that the very next day the ruler of Aquarius turns direct. I like to look at that as a bigger picture indication that we have this cohesiveness to move forward, during the third week of January, and that in essence can be our New Year's, much more so than January 1st, which may feel like unfinished business. I think the 22nd is the Chinese New Year. And I can't remember what the rule is. I mean, they're on the lunar calendar, but like, because it changes, every year. Sometimes the Chinese New Year is in February. And from what I understand, it's the year of the rabbit. I don't know exactly what that represents, but I think it might have something to do with, because rabbits reproduce so uh, prolifically that maybe it has something to do with abundance and material abundance. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope that this resonated. And if you would like a private reading, the link is below. Happy New Year. Take care. Bye.